Whether you grew up with the Disney animation classic or are just now finding the franchise, you're in luck, because Disney rebooted its Duckverse with a brand new Ducktales series that began airing in 2017. And it was pretty immediately a huge success for Disney. Hey there, I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and today I'm here to count down 107 facts about Disney's brand new Ducktales series. Life is like a hurricane here at Channel Frederator. It doesn't really have the same ring to it. Whatever, just start the thing. The new DuckTales cartoon isn't just a reboot of the 80s cartoon series. It's intended as a remake of the original TV show, the Carl Barks comic book series, and the NES video game. Writer and producer Francisco Anganes, before producing the reboot, was such a fan of DuckTales he incorporated lines from the theme song into his wedding vows. Matt Youngberg, who is co-producing the series alongside Anganes, previously worked on Ben 10 Omniverse and is also a self-proclaimed DuckTales fan. One of the central things that attracted DuckTales producers to the reboot was the idea of a big mixed family, so that was made a central element of the show. Anganes describes it as something of Indiana Jones meets Arrested Development. Youngberg and Anganes are both fathers, with 5 daughters in total between them, and in writing about the family at the heart of DuckTales, they've tried to pull from their own experiences and their perception of their kids' lives. Youngberg grew up as one of 9 children, an experience he drew on as a writer. One of his middle brothers, for example, would bring a briefcase to school every day instead of a backpack, which was adapted as a character trait of Dewey's. It only took 3 days for Anganes and Youngberg to establish their approach to the franchise. The entire time after that was spent realizing their vision. After those 3 days, they landed on 2 truisms that act as guiding principles for the show: that it's a show about a relatable family, and that Scrooge McDuck was once the greatest adventurer and treasure hunter in the world. Disney's primary motivation for reviving the series was that it was the first major success for Disney TV Animation, the studio that would go on to create all of Disney's hit TV cartoons like Kim Possible and Gravity Falls. Remaking the show that was there from the start for a newer audience seemed like a natural choice to Disney. An early plan for the series had it as a continuation of the already established story, with Scrooge missing, following the rest of the family as they try to find him. This was abandoned because going to a 30-year-old franchise would be a lot of catching up to do for new viewers. The reboot was long in the works before it went to air. Disney first announced its return in 2015, but the series was always planned for a 2017 release. Either Disney wanted to build lots of hype, or they truly wanted to focus on creating a quality product, or both. One priority for the series creators was to make sure to differentiate Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Identifying them was always a bit of a problem in the past. And believe it or not, this show is the first time they were designated as youngest, middle, and oldest. Huey, Dewey, and Louie's ages were determined on, well, the order they say their names. Since this has always been the order in which people say their names, they just rolled with that. Traditionally, the Duck nephews all wore color-coded shirts and caps. Now, Huey, in red, is the only Duck nephew to still rock a baseball cap. Huey is the only nephew to keep his original full name in the reboot, Hubert. Dewey was originally Deuteronomy, now Dewford, and Louie was originally Louis, now Llewellyn. To the huge delight of certain parts of the internet, including myself, David Tennant is the voice actor behind Scrooge McDuck. You might know him from his tenure as the 10th Doctor in Doctor Who, and as Kilgrave in the first season of Jessica Jones. Scrooge McDuck's previous voice actor, Alan Young, was English. With the Scottish Tennant voicing Scrooge in the reboot, this is the first time the character has had a genuine Scottish voice actor. Tennant acted as something of a Scottish consultant for the series staff. By having a native Scot on the team, they were able to make sure they understood Scottish slang words and use them correctly. Some fans online call the Tennant-voiced Scrooge the Ductor. You get it? It's like the Doctor. Scrooge McDuck was given a bit of a personality overhaul. Whereas the old Scrooge was something of a rich snob, the new Scrooge sees his riches as more of a security blanket, allowing him to focus his life on adventuring. Scrooge McDuck's 3 grandnephews are voiced by Ben Schwartz, Danny Pudi, and Bobby Moynihan. Schwartz is perhaps best known for his role as Jean-Ralphio on Parks and Recreation and doing some of the beeping noises for BB-8 in the new Star Wars films. Danny Pudi is best known for his role as Abed on Community, and Bobby Moynihan was most notably an SNL cast member from 2008 through 2017. While all the members of the central cast are self-proclaimed DuckTales fans, they all agree that the biggest fan of them all is Ben Schwartz. Once Schwartz, Pudi, and Moynihan were cast, some of Huey, Dewey, and Louie's lines were rewritten in order to incorporate the voices each seasoned comedic actor brought to the characters. The show also features one half of comedy folk duo Garfunkel and Oates' Kate McCucci as Webby, SNL's Beck Bennett as Launchpad McQuack, and Castle's Tokes Olagundoye as Mrs. Beakley. Anganes wanted to incorporate a Latino superhero into the series, rewriting the character Gizmoduck, who has a duck human form and a superhero alter ego, as a Latino character. He asked Lin-Manuel Miranda on a whim through a letter, who was moved by Gonzalez's sentiment and joined the show. If you're alien to the theater world, Lin-Manuel Miranda is the Broadway superstar behind shows like In the Heights and the more recent mega hit, Hamilton. Miranda was so excited about his role that on the first day of recording his voice lines, he sang the Moon theme from the Ducktales video game soundtrack. When performing as Gizmoduck, the producers had to dumb down Lin-Manuel Miranda, who through his musical experience, including the rap songs in Hamilton, became very competent at talking quickly and intelligibly. Gizmoduck is more of a scatterbrained character, so Miranda had to give a more marble-mouthed performance. It was important to the series creators that Webby was recognized as a member of the central cast of adventurers, so the whole unit of kids wouldn't be referred to as the nephews or the boys in order to not exclude Webby from her central role. In Gonzalez's own words, quote, "If Huey is the brains, Dewey is the guts, and Louie is the mouth, then Webby is both the heart and the fists of the group." Webby was changed significantly from the source material. While she was an existing character in the DuckTales universe of the past, she was very much a side character rather than the central character and skilled adventurer she is in the reboot. In Day Trip of Doom, Webby plays the ukulele, which is a nod to her voice actor Kate Micucci, who plays ukulele in Garfunkel and Oates. While Webby has a haircut similar to Kate Micucci's and Dewey has a hair design similar to Ben Schwartz, that was completely accidental. The characters were designed before they hired voice actors, and they just happened to look like the best people for the job. I wonder if that affected casting. Mrs. Beakley, originally Scrooge's housekeeper, was upgraded to his bodyguard in the reboot. The creator's reasoning was that with the Beagle Boys trying to break into your house every day, of course you'd want a first line of defense. And who better than the person who keeps up your home every day? The original TV series was based on storylines first established in Uncle Scrooge comics. Donald Duck was originally a character in the comic book adventures, but he was removed from the original TV series so that it could focus more on Scrooge. In the new series, however, he's making his debut as part of the DuckTales crew, as was intended in the comic book source material. Perhaps the most familiar voice in the series is that of Donald Duck. Rather than revitalize the character with the voice of a recognizable name in comedy, Tony Anselmo, who's been Donald Duck since 1985, is reprising his role once again. The only character other than Donald to retain their voice actor from the earlier TV series is duck scientist Ludwig von Drake's voice actor, Corey Burton. In the Brazilian version of the show, Louie's voice actor from the original cartoon series, Miriam Fisher, returns, though this time voicing the mummy Amunet. Catherine Tate does the voice of villain Magica De Spell in DuckTales, making this the first time she's reunited with Tennant, with whom she co-starred in Doctor Who. Magica's accent was changed from her original Eastern European to Catherine Tate's more British interpretation of the character in order to not retread old ground, but update the characters with the new cast's own unique talents. The villainous Magica De Spell now has a niece named Alina, a character new to the reboot. Actors recorded their lines separately from one another, partially in order to make full use of the small recording studio space. Since these are young, energetic characters, the voice actors could truly physicalize their voice performances as they were giving them. In order to give the series an old-school animated look, as a nod to the original series, characters were drawn with a digital brush style meant to look like hand-drawn ink, with a layer applied on top of that to give it a comic-like appearance. In addition to Carl Barks's classic Scrooge McDuck comics, The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, a 12 comic book series by Don Rosa, was a major influence on the series and required reading for all of its writers. The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck is referenced in the series, with a book in episode 2 titled The Life and Times of Della Duck. While the original cartoon was episodic, with each storyline relatively self-contained, the reboot is telling serialized stories, with a couple of overarching mysteries tying the season together. If there's one thing any given person might remember from the original DuckTales series, it will 100% be the theme song. Luckily, that's back for the new series, reimagined by Felicia Barton, mother of Malachi Barton, who plays Beast on Disney's Stuck in the Middle. Mark Muller, the writer of the iconic theme song, was nervous to hear the new version, but ended up telling the series creators that they did an amazing job. The new opening sequence contains lots of Easter eggs for series fans, and even 6 months after the series went on air, Gonzalez claims that there are still Easter eggs fans have yet to find, so keep your eyes peeled the next time you watch it. Before the new iteration of the theme song used in the reboot was revealed to the public, Disney promoted the show with a rendition of the theme song stitched together from all of the central voice cast singing it. The video quickly became one of the most popular on YouTube during the week of its release. Disney's first announcement video included the series' original theme song, but set to video clips of real actual ducks, including an actual duck swimming in actual gold coins. Scrooge and Donald's outfits are based on their original comic book appearances, with Scrooge wearing a red jacket and Donald in a black shirt rather than the blue shirt that he usually appears in. 6 shorts premiered on Disney XD's YouTube channel in June in advance of the series premiere, with the new cast and updated animation style, each named after a character, introducing audiences to them before the show went to air. The series premiered with a full 24-hour-long event in which an hour-long TV movie intended as the series pilot aired consecutively for a full day's time. DuckTales' TV movie debut made it Disney's highest-rated animated series in more than 2.5 years, with 162,000 total viewers. Following the special movie event, the regular series premiere on September 23rd of 2017 was just days after the 30th anniversary of the original series. The first season is 21 episodes long, with each episode at around 22 minutes long, including each half hour of the movie premiere split in two. The premiere of Ducktales was accompanied by a whole bunch of multimedia related to the series. For example, an Avatar creator on the Disney XD app, the addition of Donald Duck to the Angry Birds app, and joke books, doodle books, and more written by characters from the show. The series was a preemptive success as far as Disney was concerned. A second season was already greenlit in advance of the first season's premiere. In total, Ducktales has aired in 34 different languages in 162 countries around the world. The show is a critical success. At the time of recording this, review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, while only averaging 9 reviews, scores the series at a perfect 100%. Not only is Ducktales a nostalgia trip to the Ducktales stories of the past, but to pop culture of the past as well. For example, episode 4 includes an homage to the 80s film The Warriors, as Ma Beagle amasses groups of Beagle Boys similar to the New York Gang's gathering in the classic movie. However, while technology factors into the series, Scrooge McDuck is characteristically old-fashioned. Rather than a smartphone, he rocks a flip phone. Completely gold-plated, of course. However, while nostalgia is at the heart of the series, it's not a full-on 80s series. Most characters have their own smartphone, for example, intended to allow the show to both have an old-school feel and a modern setting. Another key signifier of the old-new divide is that given Scrooge McDuck is something of an old-timey billionaire, new character, Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur Mark Beeks is meant to act as his modern foil, as a new kind of billionaire, recognizable to today's younger viewers. According to Enganes, Mark Beeks is an African grey parrot. Scrooge McDuck's rival, Flintheart Glomgold, was originally South African in the comics, then changed to Scottish in the original cartoon. The reboot writers decided that given his role as Scrooge's antagonist, he made a conscious choice to try to beat Scrooge in every way, including being more Scottish, which explains his exaggerated accent and appearance. Scrooge claims that he runs a multi-trillion-dollar business. A piece by Live Science once estimated the value of Scrooge's pool of gold coins alone to be $5.4 trillion, so Scrooge was not exaggerating. While the secret is only in part of episode 1, Huey, Dewey, and Louie know of Scrooge McDuck as a famous adventurer, but not that he is their great uncle. That way, kids with no previous experience of the franchise can delight in finding out the familial relationship at the same time as his duck nephews. Ducktales also incorporates other Disney series that aired around the same time as the original cartoon. In the first episode, you'll see a board that Webby keeps with information about Scrooge McDuck. It references Sky Pirates, which were the villains in Disney's Tailspin. The Air Pirates ship from Tailspin was also revealed as part of the series during a 2017 Comic-Con, and the series' home city has been confirmed to exist in the DuckTales universe, so expect a Tailspin crossover. DuckTales has also confirmed to eventually incorporate Darkwing Duck, who once had his own titular series. While he never appeared in the original DuckTales, the series was intended as a sort of spin-off, with Launchpad McQuack as the common denominator. While this has yet to be official news, Darkwing Duck's original voice actor Jim Cummings has been all but confirmed to reprise his role in DuckTales. He's both hinted about a project he can't reveal to the public and was listed as a DuckTales cast member in a promotional video released by Disney. While this could be a fun Easter egg or just a coincidence, the pirate ghost the main crew encounters in Atlantis, Captain Peghook, shares a name with the boss from Disney's Magical Quest III, originally released for the SNES. While this is a series reboot that features an alternate universe Scrooge McDuck from the original series, there are still visual references to his predecessor's adventures. In the pilot, for example, Scrooge owns Armstrong the Robot and Jean's lamp from the Treasure of the Lost Lamp DuckTales movie. The portraits of Scrooge McDuck that are hung around his mansion are actually art based on the original comic book designs of the character from the 40s. The new DuckTales isn't actually the first new series to feature Huey, Dewey, and Louie. In the 90s, a series titled Quack Pack featured cool teen versions of the Duck Brothers and included more sitcom-esque stories than DuckTales adventures and had tons of rad 90s lingo. It was not a huge success. The first 8 episodes were aired in a different order than they were written. Enganes on his Twitter account has listed the episodes in their writing order so that the viewers can watch the series in the order its creators intended. Enganes, also on his Twitter, separates episodes into globe-trotting episodes and Duckburg episodes, with the show intending to more or less alternate one with the other. Despite the series' warm reception, there was a significant delay between the airing of its first 9 episodes and then the rest of the season, with a months-long gap before the series picked up again. Coinciding with the series' return after its early hiatus, the series was moved from its original home on Disney XD to regular old Disney Channel. Alongside DuckTales' return to air, Disney debuted its first Duck Week, with programming and other media experiences, including an augmented reality Snapchat filter and a PSA about diverse families, all themed around DuckTales. In order to diversify its pool of talent and lend authenticity to its locations, Enganes and Youngberg are attempting to hire voice actors of the ethnicity of the characters in a given location. Chinese voice actors, for example, will be hired for an episode that takes place in China. The series team writes scripts first and then decides whether or not to incorporate incorporate a nostalgic character from the earlier series or comic book. If they choose not to, they'll invent an entirely new character. So while nostalgia is important, the stories they're telling take precedence. While Gonzalez pitched 2 scripts to Disney involving Mickey Mouse, they were vetoed, and the Disney mascot is unlikely to ever appear in the series. However, Goofy's hometown in Goof Troop, Spoonerville, is mentioned in episode 1, meaning Goofy is still very much on the proverbial table. 2 characters originally planned for the series that were cut completely are a spider named Morocco Pete and a businessman named Business Manningtonson. Sorry to fans of spiders and obvious puns. DuckTales writers implement something they call the minecart rule. A minecart chase was probably great the first time you saw it, right? But by now it's getting kind of old. So the minecart rule means that writers have to always be creating situations that will be cool because viewers are seeing them for the first time. At no point in the series are the writers allowed to use the word airplane. They have to call it an aeroplane the way it's said in the theme song. With children of their own, Gonzalez and Youngberg are on record as saying that the character they relate the most to is the fatherly Donald. Even though Donald isn't the nephew's father, he's treated as a single father by the writers, filling that role in the complex family that makes up the core cast. Before the first episode of the new DuckTales had even premiered on Disney, IDW Comics began releasing comic books based on the new show, the first DuckTales comics published in America since 2011. The comic book series and the cartoon both take place in the same continuity, with issue 0 of the comic acting as a prequel to the TV pilot, and future issues containing plot elements that will tie into the series after they're introduced. After the series cast has read through the script as it's written on the page, they're allowed to improvise their own lines, some of which have been incorporated into the show. One promotion of note in advance of the series was Disney XD creating a real-life pool of golden coins which the cast and press got to jump in. While it fulfilled a lot of DuckTales fans' longtime fantasy of living like Scrooge McDuck, according to Cade McCucci, the reality was that diving into a pool of coins actually kinda hurts. DuckTales was first announced partway through Gravity Falls' final season. Many of Gravity Falls staff, through either lucky timing or just, being really talented, now work on DuckTales, like art director Sean Jimenez and directors Dana Terrace and John Aushima. Some of the series' locations are fictional versions of real-life places. Silver Beak is DuckTales' version of the LA neighborhood Silver Lake, Macaw is the island Macau, and Neverest is their Mount Everest, though you probably didn't need me to explain that last one. DuckTales World also includes some real-life locations, like Lillehammer, a city in Norway that was the setting of an Olympics-themed comic book story, and El Dorado, the not quite real but rumored Kingdom of Gold. Scrooge's aeroplane is called the Sun Chaser, which is the name of the first aeroplane owned by Launchpad in the original DuckTales cartoon. Early on, Gonzalez revealed that Scrooge McDuck's butler, Duckworth, appeared in the intro sequence, but fans struggled to locate him. Later on, the episode Mystery at McDuck Manor would reveal that he's the skull-headed ghost that menacingly pops up behind the children. The series creators have already shut down the possibility of any romance between Webby and another character, stressing that it's a show about family and not about romance. The official Duck family tree lists a few other Duck families as being related to the McDucks, for example, the Coots, the Gadwells, and the plain old Ducks, though the extended Duck family has yet to factor into the series. A central arc established early on is what happened to Della Duck, the nephew's mom. While Della has existed in the Duckverse, she's only been referenced, first in a comic strip and adapted short as Dumbella, then on the Duck family tree as Thelma with Della as a nickname. The only time she's actually appeared outside of references and the new DuckTales series? A short comic strip posted to the Netherlands official Donald Duck Facebook fan page. Yeah, seriously. So far, each episode has featured a different permutation of the main cast. The only main character to appear in every episode has been Dewey. The nephew's friend Doofus Drake is all but confirmed to make an appearance in the series, with his character appearing on a character board in an NBC segment profiling the series. While most of DuckTales' score is orchestral, composer Dominic Lewis, inspired by Scrooge McDuck's Scottish heritage, incorporates bagpipes into the score from time to time. In 2017, when the series premiered, the DuckTales video game returned to the gaming world through the Disney Afternoon Collection, a 4-game compilation including the NES DuckTales. 2017, a great year for gaming and for DuckTales fans. Entertainment Weekly listed DuckTales as one of the 10 best shows of 2017, alongside heavy hitters like Twin Peaks, The Return, and The Handmaid's Tale. With the DuckTales fandom growing, who knows what's next for our adventurers. Once again, I'm Jacob, and thanks for watching 107 Facts about the new DuckTales. Are you ready to dig up the mystery of Della Duck? Who's your favorite of the gang? Comment below and let us know. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to Channel Frederator for more videos like this one, and if you want even more than that, check out our sister channel Cinematica, where we talk about your favorite movies and TV series. And remember, Frederator loves you.